The week just kicked off, and if you're a fan of the San Francisco 49ers, let me tell you, there's a tidal wave of positive updates coming your way. Today has been packed with unexpected good news, the kind that makes you believe something big is brewing behind the scenes. The energy around the team feels different, more optimistic, like the franchise is gearing up for a significant push. It's one of those rare days when you scroll through your feed and every bit of info makes you sit up a little straighter. There's movement in key areas, and what we're seeing could very well shape the course of the upcoming NFL season. Let's jump straight into it, because there's no reason to delay when the headlines are this intriguing. First up, contract talks. We're talking about the quarterback, and yes, there are negotiations underway. Now, nothing is official yet, and there's no deadline breathing down anyone's neck. But sources close to the situation are confident that a new deal could be locked in before the kickoff of the 2025 season. And look, while we're not dealing with breaking news in the traditional sense, there's value in the details. Even when it seems like the status quo hasn't changed, the context behind these talks says a lot. From what we're hearing, the numbers being discussed are massive. We're talking somewhere between $50 and $55 million per year. That's elite quarterback money, and it would place Brock Purdy among the highest-paid players in the league. There was a time when even suggesting that would have sounded ridiculous. But now, it's becoming the norm. Considering how the salary cap is expanding, this figure might feel more like $45 to $50 million when adjusted for inflation. So it's not as wild as it sounds on the surface. What this signals, though, is intent. It shows the team is serious about investing in their future and not waiting until things become complicated. What's really interesting here is the contrast with how this team used to handle extensions. We've seen past negotiations drag out endlessly with little progress. Names don't even need to be mentioned. You know who I'm talking about. Back then, it felt like pulling teeth just to get any sort of agreement on paper. But this time, it feels proactive. The organization isn't waiting for deadlines or off-season drama. They're starting talks early, getting everyone aligned, and that's a massive shift in tone. It's not just about locking in a player. It's about setting a culture, creating momentum. And let's be real, when you have a young QB who just led your team to the NFC Championship, you don't wait around to reward that. Now, if we zoom out for a second and look at the big picture, there's a larger conversation unfolding. This team is being projected at 10.5 wins for the season. And while that might sound average at first glance, it's actually quite telling. We're talking about a 17-game season, which means Vegas sees them as right on the cusp of elite status. 10 wins is good, but 11 or 12, that's contender territory. And what makes this projection even more exciting is how drastically the schedule has shifted. Last season, the 49ers had the toughest schedule in the league. Number one, every week was a battle. But this year, based on the previous year's records, they have the easiest schedule out of all 32 teams. That's a night and day difference. That kind of schedule swing is rare. Going from the hardest slate of games to the softest, that's a gift. Of course, it all depends on how those teams actually perform this year. But on paper, the path is much smoother. And if you're someone who tracks this stuff, you know how much of a difference it can make. A weaker schedule opens the door to resting starters late in the season, managing injuries better, and gaining playoff seeding advantages. It's not a guarantee, but it definitely stacks the odds in your favor. So if someone's still doubting whether this team can hit 11 wins, maybe it's time to reconsider. Now, let's talk about a player who's become the heart and soul of this team, George Kittle. There's been a lot of chatter lately about his future and what it could mean financially for the franchise. According to recent reports, Kittle is set to carry a cap hit of around $22 million in 2025, which would make him the second highest cap hit on the team, only behind Fred Warner, who clocks in at over $29 million. That's a heavy number, no doubt. But here's the thing, it's George Kittle. This guy isn't just another tight end. He's arguably the best in the league, and he's still producing at an elite level. Even at 31 years old, Kittle continues to dominate. He led all qualified tight ends last season in overall grade and receiving grade, with just 2 drop passes and a 70% contested catch rate. That's not normal. That's rare. And if you're still on the fence about extending his contract, just remember this. Kittle finished last season with over 1,100 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, and 78 catches. That kind of production isn't something you replace easily. In fact, it's nearly impossible. He surpassed 10,000 career receiving yards for the 4th time, and that kind of consistency is why he deserves another big contract, even with just 1 year left on his current deal. Now, I get it. Some folks think the team should let him play out the final year of his contract, see how he performs, and then decide. But that's a risky game, because even if he has a down year or suffers an injury, which we all hope doesn't happen, there will still be teams lining up to pay him. The market for top-tier tight ends is shallow, and Kittle is as reliable as they come. The smart move would be to get ahead of this now, secure him with a team-friendly extension, and avoid a bidding war next offseason. Both the front office and Kittle have expressed mutual interest in making sure he retires a Niner, and I genuinely hope that's how it plays out. The thought of seeing him in any jersey other than black and gold just doesn't feel right. There's also this buzz around the draft, and more specifically, a name that's gaining traction, Kelvin Banks. This guy is a monster on the offensive line, and there's a growing belief that the 49ers might target him with the 11th overall pick in the 2025 draft. It's not confirmed, of course, but there's evidence stacking up. Banks had a formal meeting with the team during the NFL Combine, and while teams meet with dozens of prospects, this one feels different. There's a sense of genuine interest here, and when you consider the state of the offensive line, it starts to make a lot of sense. Colton McKivitz is entering the final year of his deal, and it's unlikely he'll return. Trent Williams, as much as we love him, is nearing the end of the road. There's been talk that he might retire after this season, especially if the team makes a deep playoff run. If that happens, San Francisco will be left with a major hole at tackle, and that's not the kind of position you want to scramble to fill. Kelvin Banks could be the long-term answer. He's 6'5", 315 pounds, and athletic enough to thrive in the Niners' outside zone scheme. Some scouts see him as a guard, but most agree that he can develop into a franchise left tackle with the right coaching. Last season, Banks was graded as the top offensive tackle in college football, allowing just 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 7 pressures on 538 pass-blocking snaps. Those are elite numbers, especially for a guy who faced top-tier competition every week. His footwork, balance, and anchor strength are all impressive, and while he still has room to grow, the upside is enormous. He's not just a safe pick, he's a potential game-changer. And if we're being honest, this might be the only real shot the 49ers have at landing a starting-caliber offensive tackle in this draft. Multiple scouting reports are suggesting that while the draft class has depth, true first-round tackle talent starts to thin out quickly after the top 15 picks. Even if the team holds a strong position in the second round, the odds of finding someone who can step in and start on day 1 at left tackle drop dramatically. That's just the reality of the draft. You might get lucky, but you definitely don't want to rely on luck when you're protecting the quarterback blindside. Some have floated the idea that Banks could initially be slotted in as a guard, which makes sense given his build and movement skills. That transition period could buy him a year to learn the system, develop under the coaching staff, and then take over when Trent Williams decides to call it a career. It's a common strategy around the league. Draft a tackle, start him at guard, and let him grow into the role. Players like Spencer Burford and Ben Barch followed a similar path. It works. And for the Niners, who are trying to keep their window of contention wide open, that kind of foresight could pay off massively. Now, the question is, will Banks still be on the board at pick number 11? According to recent draft simulations, there's about an 80% chance he'll be available when it's the 49ers' turn. That's encouraging, but it's far from guaranteed. Other teams in need of tackle help could easily swoop in, and let's not forget how unpredictable the draft can be. One surprise pick can throw off the entire board. But if he's there, and if the front office believes in his potential, this feels like a no-brainer. It's the type of move that secures your offensive line for the next 5 to 10 years, and that's worth investing in. Let me throw another name into the mix, Will Campbell. Widely regarded as the top offensive tackle prospect in this class, Campbell has drawn comparisons to elite-level linemen from past drafts. He's technically sound, physically dominant, and already looks like a pro. Then there's Armand Mio, who absolutely lit up the combine with a 40-yard dash that had scouts buzzing. His explosiveness is unmatched, and while some teams view him as more of a raw project, his ceiling is sky high. These are the types of players the 49ers are evaluating, and depending on how the board shakes out, any of them could end up wearing red and gold. But the attention on Kelvin Banks isn't just speculation. He finished the season as the highest-graded offensive tackle in the country, according to PFF. His numbers are ridiculous. Just 1 sack allowed, 2 QB hits, and 7 total pressures over more than 500 pass-blocking reps. He's not flashy, but he's consistent. He's agile enough to climb to the second level and take out linebackers in space, and strong enough to anchor against bull rushes. He might not be a finished product yet, but you can see the tools. And when it comes to offensive linemen, tools matter. Some draft analysts have voiced minor concerns. Maybe his hand placement could use work. Maybe his leverage needs refining. But those are coachable. The core traits are there. He's got a sturdy base, quick feet, and a nasty streak that you love to see in linemen. Plus, he fits the 49ers culture. This is a team that values versatility, toughness, and football IQ. Banks checks all those boxes. It's no wonder they're interested. And while the team meets with a lot of prospects, the context matters. They're not just casting a wide net. They're narrowing their focus. Spending time with a projected first-rounder like Banks signals real intent. If he ends up being their guy, it means they believe he can anchor that line for years to come. That's not a role you hand out lightly. With less than 30 days until the draft, the anticipation is building. We're officially in countdown mode. And personally, I'm itching to see how this all plays out. The speculation, the projections, the behind-the-scenes maneuvering, it all adds up to one of the most exciting periods in the NFL calendar. And for the 49ers, this draft could be pivotal. There are holes to fill, contract to navigate, and a Super Bowl window that's still wide open, but only if they make the right moves now. So whether it's negotiating that big extension with Brock Purdy, locking down George Kittle for the long term, or using that 11th pick to solidify the offensive line, this offseason is already shaping up to be one of the most strategic we've seen from the front office. And if everything lines up just right, we might be looking at a team that's not just built to compete, but built to dominate. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The San Francisco 49ers, known for their relentless pursuit of success, may be on the verge of one of the most intriguing quarterback acquisitions in recent NFL history. Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packers' rising star, is reportedly a top target for the 49ers in their quest to strengthen their leadership on the field. With a new contract extension worth $220 million and a promising future ahead, Love's potential move to San Francisco has fans and analysts buzzing with anticipation. The 49ers' interest in Love is fueled by his impressive performance in 2023, where, after stepping into the starting role for the Packers, he led them to a playoff victory. His poise under pressure, combined with a powerful arm and the ability to read defenses, makes him a coveted commodity. San Francisco, already a contender in the NFC, sees Love as the missing piece that could elevate their championship aspirations. Adding fuel to the fire is Love's meteoric rise after serving as Aaron Rodgers' backup for 3 seasons. After an early setback in the 2024 season, including a brief injury, Love bounced back stronger, showcasing career highs in passing yards and touchdowns. His resilience and growth have made him a standout figure, and the 49ers are clearly taking notice. The financial commitment to Love's extension with the Packers shows just how highly they value his abilities, but that has not deterred the 49ers. San Francisco, with their deep roster and consistent playoff appearances, is looking for a quarterback who can guide them to the promised land, and Love may very well be the answer. As rumors swirl and discussions intensify, the question remains, will Jordan Love trade in Green Bay for the bright lights of San Francisco? The 49ers fans are certainly hoping so. And if the deal goes through, it could reshape the landscape of the NFC for years to come. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.